Data and statistics indicates that having series of failed educational policies in the country have been a major cause of the rise and insurgency in the northeast, and also other terrorist-related activities in other parts of the north. Yeah, like the cases of bandits attacking Zamfara and all other states. Yeah, and also we would like to know, could you kindly tell us how the Sani Bello Foundation is trying to douse the level of illiteracy in the north by making them aware of the essence of Western education? Yeah.
Absolutely, but before I answer anything related to the Sani Bello Foundation, you mentioned lack of education, you mentioned insurgency, you mentioned banditry,
Yeah.
you mentioned quite a few things that seem to be plaguing the north. Northern parts of Nigeria is perhaps experiencing what some of the states in the Niger Delta experienced a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, when you have a large number of people, when you have a very high population, and your population have the youth, and in politics people use the youth for their own selfish reasons, and needs, and then abandon such the youth especially, you are bound to have such problems. You are bound to have such problems. It's a perfect soup. No education, high population. I'm trying desperately hard not to use this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
No, please.
When people have too many children and they cannot control their children, they have lost the ability, their parental ability to actually train their kids. You have a problem. And this is a problem that we have in the north. We must address this. We cannot shy away from this problem of people not having enough resources and yet having so many children. They don't have enough rooms in their homes and they end up pushing their kids onto the streets. Obviously, these kids will end up becoming, or rather being raised by the unwanted of the streets. Back to the Sani Bello Foundation. The Sani Bello Foundation is a strange kind of idea from conception to date, because I keep on saying formally yes, the Sani Bello Foundation is about 7-8 years old, but Sani Bello as a person has been educating, has been sponsoring quite a number of people, and they have become quite successful, very successful in their lives, from families to friends to people he doesn't know, and he still does the same thing. It's just that the Sani Bello Foundation became more formal 7-8 years ago. I'll give you an example. After his retirement from the Nigerian Army in 1979, forgive me, I think it was actually August 17th if I remember, we moved to Kwantagora. I and my brother went to Army Children's School, but then our younger ones, there wasn't any facility for a nursery school then, funny enough. I don't remember us having nursery school. So, my mother wanted to start some sort of a nursery, school, in our very own house. So my father said, well, you know what, if you're going to do something like this, why don't we open a school? And hence the idea of Mustafa Nursery School was born. Then we had a remarkable lady, Cecil. She was doing her NYC, and she was the headmistress of the school. We just had 2 classes, I think nursery 1A and nursery 1B. I don't remember her other colleague, but I remember Cecil very well. And when she came into Kwantagora then, I think my father obviously tries as much as possible to provide accommodation for NYC students. And on one of their talks he says to her, and how are you enjoying Kwantagora? This is 1980. this, oh, Quantago that. And he jokingly said to her, Cecil, baby, who knows, you might even marry from Quantago. She screamed, she said, oh no, God forbid, I will not marry from there. And eventually she did marry from Quantago. She married a remarkable man, who was an officer, Mr. Yellow Duke. Sadly, they both passed away, and very passionate when I talk about Cecil. So Mustafa Comprehensive School is but 38 years old. We've produced doctors and engineers and successful businessmen and women. We've produced pharmacists and a whole lot from Mustafa Comprehensive School. So by the time that we actually ended up having this formal Sani Bello Foundation as an NGO, we pushed the Mustafa Comprehensive School under the education aspect of the Sani Bello Foundation. Believe you me or believe you me not, and I choose that you do believe me, past students from the school, Solomon Enejo and Solomon Nuga, they actually graduated from Mustafa Comprehensive School because over time we had we had the whole lot from nursery all the way to secondary, and that's why we changed to Mustafa Comprehensive School. So they came up with the idea of, okay, let's set up this training training center for the youth. Even despite the fact that obviously Mr. Bello had always wanted to do something like that, but they were the driving force. And Sani Bello Vocational Training Center was born. The Sani Bello Vocational Training Center, we train people in cookery, tailoring, hair and makeup, I think cosmetology. You've got phone repairs, you've got the computer repairs, you've got the agri section where you can be taught, fishery, poultry, and rabbitry. So this is really to cater for the young men and women within our community that obviously were not lucky enough to go to school, and we made it in such a way that it is incredibly, well, I hope it is incredible, we made it in such a way that it was an affordable rate of, I think, 5,000 or so to get this training, to get this certificate. But then we also realized that if you train people and you don't give people the right funds, then you are you haven't really done anything. So what we did is that we leveraged on the name, family name, or the foundation. We actually put some money into a bank, and then we get the students, beneficiaries, to actually access a loan. I think it's like 2% or something like that. And they get this loan, and when they graduate, they have their certificates. They get the loan, and they go and set up their business. Having a 85% success rate, to me, is incredibly good. Nothing makes me happy. I mean, the happy moments. Yesterday I mentioned, I don't know if I did mention this, but I'm sure I mentioned this to you. I try as much as possible whenever I get time to visit our beneficiaries, to give them that support and to see how well they're doing. And how well we are doing as well. Because it's a two-way thing. Yeah. And I was told of a lady who, she can neither read nor write, disabled, she cannot speak, she cannot hear, and she was into poultry. She's a beneficiary of the school. Walk into her house was an experience.
Sorry, you said that at CVL.
Yes, at the CVL. Dirt at its peak, and in my mind I was like, how can any chicken really survive here? I mean, the local chicken obviously will survive, but not the ones that we have, the ones that are practically genetically engineered, if I may say that. And I was like, okay, fine. So we walked in. She had this mud hut, and her chickens were as white as paper. And I looked at this woman. Her husband is also disabled, cannot speak, cannot hear. Trying how to be very diplomatically correct, because using the word deaf and dumb has been abolished, And I asked, how many chickens does she start with? And sadly I don't know how to do sign language, and she answered, she started with 100 chickens. And I said, how many chickens does she have now? Because obviously I cannot count them. I mean, I can see chickens looking healthy and white. And then she had 97 chickens. That is a 97% success rate. And I asked, could you please tell her that I would like to buy some of the chickens? Because I was very excited. I wanted to get practically all the chickens off her. And she shook her head. She said, no, she wasn't going to sell me the chickens. So I said, why not? Ask her, why not? And she explained, saying, now we're in Ramadan. Eid, Salah is going to be in 2 weeks. She will make more money then. For me, that was incredible. Visited another lady that started with, another beneficiary started with one sewing machine. By the time we got there, she has 3 sewing machines, her fan was working, she's been busy, smiling, you know. But another story that I always share is my cook. We have a motel in Puntagora, and I was staying in the motel, and I asked them for lunch, and I had soup, not stew, but vegetable soup. And the moment I ate it, I was like, this tastes good. This tastes really perfect. But I didn't bother to ask. In the evening, I asked for fresh fish pepper soup. Tasted it. First spoon, I said to the manager then, I said, you guys have a new cook in this place. Who is it? Then he said to me, oh, over there, his name is Usman. I said, where is he from? Where did you get him? They said, oh, he's the, what do you call it, a product of the Sani Bello Vocational Training Center. And there I said to him, Usman, I'm going to give you 1 month. You go and decide. If you want to come and work with me, I'm taking you to Kaduna. He decided, took him to Kaduna, and doubled his salary. But before then, I actually went to his teacher in school, and I asked her, I said, where did you find Usman? She goes, oh, he's from Puntagora, and when he came here, he could only boil water. He couldn't even cook indomie. And I said, you mean you taught him all this? She said, yeah, he could only boil water. Because usually you wouldn't find northerners, or northern men, you know, cooking. It seems to be like some sort of a taboo, which is rather sad, you know. But he turned out to be an incredible, what do you call it, cook. And all you have to do is you teach him something once. Now, I know how to cook, funny enough. And staying in London, I love eating akara, so I had to learn how to make akara. So I taught this guy how to make akara just once. And this guy knows how to make it even better than I do. I mean, he whenever he does it, there's practically a queue whenever he does it. So that is that aspect of what you call it, educating the young and giving people a hope, and changing lives, and what you call it. And we're expanding, we're becoming more professional.